What's up, guys? JayzTwoCents here, and we're going to talk about stuff that's making news headlines today. I want you to add one of those globes. So I know a lot of you guys are probably like, Jay, and I've gotten tons of emails and tweets, obviously, as of waking up this morning going, Jay, did you hear about this? Hey, Jay, because we've clearly been like, apparently how Linus was with TunnelBear, like we've been with NordVPN. It's just a service that we used and we really liked. So we're gonna talk about the future of our sponsorship with NordVPN towards the end of this video, but I feel like you need to understand the problems and the way it was handled so you can understand our decisions on why we're doing what we're doing. So back in March of 2018, and I am using notes here, there's stuff I wanna make sure I don't miss. So back in March of 2018, a data center in Finland a server in Finland was accessed without authorization via an exploit through remote management software that was left in place by the data center. And the server was active for about a month with this vulnerability. So in the data center, what happens is NordVPN doesn't own all these servers. They rent them in various data centers around the world. That's how they can get up and running with new servers so quickly. And with this connected age that we live in now, it's not hard to find a data center in just about every corner of the world. But apparently what happened is this data center left a remote management utility in place where you don't leave those in place. They're just like keys hanging out of a door. And if you can get access to that, then you have access to the server. So what happened is unauthorized access via someone somewhere got access to the server and the encryption key. Now, to understand why the key is important, you have to understand how a VPN works. We're gonna do a super layman explanation here, but basically a VPN, or a virtual private network, is a point-to-point connection between you, whatever device that you're on, and the data center or the virtual private network. What happens is your information gets packeted into this encrypted packet, and then you have a tunnel to the VPN. So the ISP is trying to get in there and they can't because this tunnel is encrypted and here's your data and you basically just take it and you just go. Your packet goes into the tunnel and then normally it only takes one blow to get it to the server. But the encryption key on the other end says, oh, this is an authorized server, right? So the key authorizes the server with NordVPN, that's a proper server. It will then take the data, the packet, decrypt it, because it's encrypted in that tunnel, and then send it off to the internet. And then same thing going the other way. Data from the internet is re-encrypted, sent to you, and then decrypted on your end. Well, that encryption key was stolen during that month of access that was unauthorized. So this is NordVPN's exact statement regarding this. The server itself did not contain any user activity logs. None of our applications send user-created credentials for authentication, so usernames and passwords couldn't have been intercepted either, said the spokesperson. And by the way, I'm referencing a TechCrunch article. I'll put the link down below. They're the ones who really did all the investigative research on this and got Nord to respond. So please read the entire article down below. But the quote goes on to say, on the same note, the only possible way to abuse the web traffic was by performing a personalized and complicated man-in-the-middle attack to intercept a single connection that tried to access NordVPN. Okay, so that single access again being this. Because with that encryption key, what they can do is they can fake the server. So basically with the encryption key being stolen and could be used somewhere else, is they could just repoint that tunnel. Hey, I'm a Nord server. Well, I'm a Nord server too. Wink, wink. Whoop. Now you're connecting to them. So what they're saying is the only way that this traffic can be abused is if you are connecting to an unauthorized server. Now, how does that happen? Well, have you ever seen those emails that are like, hey, I'm a widow in Nigeria and I have $50 million and all I need is a husband, click here. Well, it's those click here's, those spoof emails, those emails that are pretending to be someone. In this case, they could have been pretending to be NordVPN in Finland, advertising a new server to connect to us. These are hypotheticals, it doesn't mean it's happened, but this is how you would gain access to an unauthorized server using the encryption key. So what happens is, although there are no logs, and Nord is correct about that, they don't store logs on their servers. Who needs a log when you have the data itself? So that's problem number one, and that's kind of cop-out answer number one in terms of Nord. That's like, hey, Nord, we hear you painted your house red. The HOA doesn't allow red. Well, you know, red is a color that started back in blah, 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 blah. It's like your response has nothing to do with the actual problems being discussed here. So the issue, and that was a really bad analogy, but the point is like, it's when you ask someone a question and they respond something entirely different, that sounds like you're answering the question, but it's not spin doctoring. It's what spokespeople do. That's what they're paid to do. And so what's happened here is that they are completely underplaying what could have potentially happened with that encryption key. Now, the other issue here is that the white hat hacking group that discovered all these vulnerabilities with this particular server went on to say that they don't know what other network access that encryption key and that point of access to the VPN network could have exposed for other servers. So there could be other servers that are compromised right now that no one knows about. Now this kind of goes on to say, well, why did it take Nord so long to respond? And by so long, remember, this happened back in March of 2018, and the encryption key that was exposed didn't expire until October of 2018. We're talking a massive 7 months, right? Month 3 to month 10, that's 7. I did maths. And so 7 months of this encryption key still technically being active with a month access to that server before it was identified, and then apparently the data center was fired and all that sort of stuff, because Nord's blaming the data center for this. Management number 101, or management 101, your employee's mistake is your mistake. And as a manager, you take responsibility for that. You don't, no, we don't play that game. We don't play it around here. You don't play it in life, as far as I'm concerned. Nord says it found out about the breach a few months ago. But the spokesperson said the breach was not disclosed until today, being the day the article went live, or at least the comment, because the company wanted to be 100% sure that each component within our infrastructure was secure. That's an open-ended excuse to say we needed time to talk about this, and that probably would have never been disclosed until they were asked about it publicly, which is what happened here. The TechCrunch article brought this to the public limelight, and Nord had no choice but to respond. So the researcher went on to say, and by researcher I mean the White Hat Hacking Group, went on to say, while this is unconfirmed and we await further forensic evidence, this is an indication of a full remote compromise of the provider systems. The security researcher said, that should be deeply concerning to anyone who uses or promotes, that's us, these particular services. My issue here is not with the hack. And my official statement with this is I'm not concerned that there was a breach. If I had to boycott or stop using any service that ever had any sort of breach, I wouldn't be able to connect to the internet, period. Every single ISP has had some sort of breach. Netflix, YouTube, Google, PSN, Xbox, Microsoft. Yes, I know those are the same, but 2 different services. If we had to say, oh my God, you've been hacked, we're never using you again, then none of you would be able to connect to anything, including the exact site you're watching this on right now. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, they've all been hacked. Hacking is just a way of life today. That is the world we live in. But the problem is the way companies handle these things, and that is when you rise and shine, or you look like, well, an untrustworthy entity, which is unfortunately what my personal opinion is right now regarding Nord. I feel like they've broken trust, not only with myself as an influencer and promoter of their brand, but also as an end user, because so much time elapsed. This is very similar to kind of like the Experian thing, where apparently Experian and all your credit and your social security numbers in the US were leaked by the millions, and it wasn't mentioned or anything until it was exposed. And it's like, oh yeah, we had a breach. Your personal information, including how to get credit, was probably leaked. Not a big deal though, we're gonna give you credit monitoring. You couldn't even monitor your own damn websites to know that this sort of thing was happening. And so you're gonna offer a fix by giving us more monitoring? Okay, that's a little rant besides the point, but that's kind of what this is here. This is the same sort of thing. This was potentially serious, and the way you handled it and your silence says gobs about your dedication to your end user and their potential privacy and security. Virtual private network, it's in the name. So letting this go for so long and only speaking up about it when somebody finally came knocking on your door and then trying to spin doctor it into being not that big of a deal is where you lost my trust. So the research group also went on to say, and this is paraphrasing here, you can actually read the quote down in the article, that it appears that NordVPN has spent millions on advertising, but very little on their defensive measures. The future of this channel will not be promoting NordVPN, not until I at least have faith restored in the company. And the way that's gonna happen is by seeing how they move forward from this. If they continue to take the sweep it under the rug approach, don't talk about it, it'll blow over, well, you know what? That's not how you handle these sort of things. Transparency and being, even though this is a corporate, but being human, admitting your faults and showing people what you're doing to protect them, that's how you re-earn trust. We're also not gonna be just jumping on board to some other VPN either, because we don't follow the dollars in this company. We follow the brands we believe in and we trust and that we feel as end users ourselves would use. That's exactly how my brands have always worked on this channel. I turn down ad opportunities all the time because it's something I simply don't care about, don't believe in, or wouldn't use personally. So I'm not gonna peddle that to you guys if I feel that way. So I use myself as sort of a litmus test on what I would and wouldn't promote based on the end user and how I feel like they would receive that. Because the other problem here is that the researcher also went on to state that other VPNs were also compromised in that same time frame, including TorGuard and Viking VPN. Now, although those are not necessarily the big guys out there like Ghost VPN or PIA or any of that stuff, the bottom line is everyone's hackable. And who knows now if those other ones have been compromised. So rather than move on to some other brand and just start promoting it, just know that I still believe a VPN is a necessary thing to have in today's day and age. But how do you pick that brand when you could be vulnerable this entire time and not know it? Now, yes, this is a very isolated thing in that it was this server in Finland that was, spoofed and potentially cloned, and you could have been connecting to that one. But we don't know now. You know why we don't know? Because Nord was not upfront and transparent about this. So we don't know the scope of this. And based on the responses here, I feel like there was enough spin doctoring to where it's downplayed to where there could be a bigger potential issue here, but now you're in protecting your bottom line and your investors and all that sort of stuff, not the end user. So that's why I wrote the email this morning to the brand saying that our contract at this point is suspended and we will not be moving forward with ads on NordVPN. And I wanted to communicate that to you guys because as a promoter of theirs, I feel also partially responsible for this because during that 17 months time frame, we were promoting Nord every single month. And now at this point, I feel like I was duped as well. So I'm pissed. And if you can't tell by this video, I am pissed. And at that point, I'm sorry for that. Unfortunately, we had no way of knowing, but I'm not passing blame because at the end of the day, like I said, I'm responsible for what goes onto this channel, just like a manager is responsible for what their employees do. So with that, I'm gonna be taking down the links and we will not be promoting NordVPN anymore until we see how this plays out. And I believe that they truly rectified the problem and made it right. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I just wanted to put this out there. It was an important piece, not one I planned on putting live today. I had a much better video going live using this thing. That's a test bench. So that was a much better video than this one, but this one was more important. All right, guys, thanks for watching. And as always, we'll see you in the next one.